In this video, we are now going to texture our wagon. So let's make sure we're all prepped and ready to texture. And so the first thing I might do is go ahead and look at my names and kind of clean up my scene a little bit. So I have this group here called the basket group, and I have this basket group as well, so I need to figure out what's going on here. Aha. So yeah, just get ready. I'm going to delete some things. I'm going to move this axle into here. Just delete that. Okay. So this is my basket group, and you can kind of see all of the geometry is still called P cube, and then with a number. So Maya has a renaming tool. It's not great. There are better renaming tools that are plugins or scripts that you can load. But let's just use what Maya has by default. And we have under the modify, search and replace names. Okay, so we'll click on that. And what you can do is you can search for something. So here we're going to search for P cube. And then we're going to replace that with plank. And then usually like an underscore is pretty nice. So we'll say apply, and now you see everything just got renamed plank. So there are other tools that are nice because you can actually renumber as well. You can just totally wholesale rename something, but this is pretty good. So that's better. I'd rather have plank so I know what those are as opposed to P cube. Let's see if we have any other renaming things. So here we have a couple of poly surfaces. So this one we'll just call tie 01. And then these we might just call arch 01. Copy and then paste that in here. It's called arch 02. Well, this one 4, 3, tie 02. I guess I should have called that 1, but whatever, it's not the end of the world here. Let's call this one arch 1, or actually call this one 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, arch 06. And tie 03. Cool, so that should be good. Let's see how we're doing in here. Looks like we have some nice, I'll just call this one L spokes, and this one we can call L rim. Our metal rim, so there's our right wheel, left wheel. Let's look at our right wheel. Our spokes, our rim. Okay, so that looks pretty clean. If you hold shift and you click on one of the plus buttons here in the outliner, it will open up everything, the whole hierarchy. So that's a nice way to kind of just open the whole thing. If you hold shift click and click it again, it will collapse it. I also have my scene a ground plane. That's for later for lighting, when we want to just have a shadow on the ground. I have some lights from previously. I have a miscellaneous folder, and there's things like my nerves, curves, and some other my image planes, things I use to model or construct the wagon that I might want to keep around for later. So there's that. So there you go. Now we are pretty close to being ready to go. Let's take a look at our UVs and make sure we're all good. So here I have this wagon broken up into 2 UV spaces. So if I grab my wheel, you'll see all the UVs for the wheel are in the 0 to 1 space. If I grab my left wheel, you can see they have the exact same UVs. So one good way to do that is you can just take, say, your right wheel, right? And you've taken the wheel, here's the pivot for the rotation, so that when we want to animate, we have that rotation on axis perfectly, right? Then we grouped it, and when you group it, it automatically puts the pivot in the origin. This is assuming your model has been built at origin. And then you can duplicate that and do a scale of -1. There you go. And now you have this wheel and that wheel both have pivots ready for rotation. And they have the exact same UVs. After I would do that, I would go in and rename my right wheel to be L wheels. So this is another good one where you can kind of open up the whole thing and do a modify, search, and replace names. And I can say, I want you to find all R's underscore and switch them into L underscore. And do that with all that I have selected, apply, and now you can see all the R's got swapped for L's. Take that one there, take that one out, move it up a little bit. So there we have 2 pieces that have the exact same UV space. And then the rest, I have the arch and the basket, right? So those occupy UV space number 1 to 2. And 0 to 1 in the U, 0 to 1, 1 to 2 in the V. So if I select everything together, you can see I have 2 UV spaces for my texture. Let's go ahead and turn on our this guy here. There we go. And find the right button to click. So what you'll notice here, I'm just going to go ahead and select everything and go to show selection highlighting. So you'll notice the grid for my wheels is much smaller than the grid for my basket and wood planks. I'm not too concerned about that. I'm more concerned that all my wheels here, for example, that those have their own I have to select the actual geometry as opposed to, there we go. You can't select the group, you have to select the actual geometry. So that these are all in one UV space and they have the same grid pattern, right? Whereas my panels here and these pieces, they all share the next UV space and their grid pattern is the same scale. So it's okay for these to be different. If I had, for example, some UVs, small and others big, this, as you can imagine, would be a problem texturing because the wood grain would have to be painted different for the different grid patterns. There we go. Now back home. So we are ready to texture. So let's go ahead and start the next section here, and we'll export our UVs for texturing.